Okay, so now in this video we will implement our auth provider. So right here in the lib folder we will create a new directory by the name of, let's just say, all providers, and in here we will create a dart file by the name of auth underscore provider. Right here let's just import the material.dart library, and then after this right here we will say enum and then status, and inside this status we will type uninitialized, then authenticated, then the authenticating, then the authenticate error, and the authenticate cancelled. So auth provider is basically a provider in which, using the Google sign-in, we will take the data from the user, for example the profile, the full name, the email address, and etc, okay, which is stored in the Google account, okay, his or her Google account. For example, this is my Google account, so this is my profile image and this is the name, which is Muhammad Ali. As you can see, this is my email. So if I try to log in, then using the auth provider we will take that data and store it in our Firebase database. After this enum status we will create a class, and then we will say auth provider extends change notifier. After this we will create a final type variable which will be Google sign in. Okay, make sure to select the first one and also make sure to add the dependency at the top. Then this will be of type Google sign in, and we will name this as Google sign in. Then after this the next one will be of type Firebase auth. Okay, make sure to add the dependency at the top, and then this will be by the name of Firebase auth. Then the next one will be Firebase Firestore. Make sure to add the dependency, and this will be Firebase Firestore. Then the last variable will be the shared preferences. This will be by the name of prefs. After this, right here we will type status get status. This will be equals to underscore status. Then let's just add a constructor. So we will type auth provider round brackets, then curly brackets, and in here we will type required this dot Firebase auth. Then the same one will be for the Google sign in, the preference, and then for the Google Firebase Firestore. After this, right here we will create a string, add a null checker, and then type get user Firebase ID, and here what we will do, we will simply return the preference dot get string, and in the string key we will pass the Firestore constants.id. Then after this, right here we will type future, and then in here we will say bool, and this will be is logged in function, and also let's make this a async. Right here add a bool, then the is logged in will be equals to await, then Google sign in dot is signed in. After this we will say if is logged in, and the preference dot get string, which is this one. So right here type Firestore constants dot id, and then add a null checker, and then dot is not empty. So if the is not empty is equals to true, then we will simply return true, else we are going to return false, which is obvious. So this one will be basically our is logged in function, and after this is logged in, let's create another function which will be by the name of handle sign in, and let's make this async as well. Right here, first of all, the underscore status will be equals to status dot authenticating, and down below we will type notify listener, then we will say Google sign in account, and this will be by the name of Google user, which will be equals to await Google sign in, then dot sign in, and right here we will add a if condition, which will be this, as you can see. So in the if condition we say that if the Google user is not equals to null, then we will what we will do, we will simply say that Google sign in authentication, then the Google auth will be equals to await, then Google user dot authentication, and this final auth credential type variable, which will be by the name of credential, this will be equals to Google auth provider dot credential, and in here the access token will be the Google auth dot access token, and we will set the token ID to the Google auth dot ID token. So now we have the access token and the ID token. Right here we will say that the user type variable by the name of Firebase user, this will be equals to await Firebase auth dot sign in with credential, and in here we will add the credential, and then outside this two round brackets we will say dot user. Of this right here we will add a if condition again, and in here we will say that if the Firebase user is not equals to null, then we will simply say final query snapshot, and in here the result will be equals to await, then Firebase Firestore dot collection, and our collection path will be the Firebase constant dot path user collection, and if we check this all constant folder and then this firestore underscore constant dot dart, right here we have this firestore constant in which we have this static const and in which we are taking all of this with the nickname, the about me, the photo URL and etc, and make sure to add this all constant and then this firestore underscore constant dot dart at the top. So after this we can just simply copy this, paste it down below and change this to Firebase. Sorry, it is Firestore, and then as you can see it shows the suggestion which is Firestore underscore constant dot dart. Okay, right here change this to Firestore constant, and then after this we will say dot where, and right here the Firestore constants, sorry, then dot id, and then the is equal to will be equals to the Firebase user dot id or the uid. Then after this we will simply say dot get, and that's it. After this we will say final list, and in the list we will say document snapshot, and then the document will be equals to result dot docs, and right here in the if condition we will check that if the document dot length is equals to 0, then what we will do, we will be writing data to the server because there is a new user. Okay, so for that we will say Firebase Firestore dot collection. The collection path is the Firestore constants dot path user collection, then dot doc, and in the doc we will pass the Firebase user dot uid, and then the dot set, and in the dot set we will set the Firestore constants dot nickname to the Firebase user dot display name. Okay, so this nickname will be now equals to the display name. For example, my display name is, as you can see, this one, Muhammad Ali Zaid, and then after this the Firestore constant dot photo URL will be equals to the Firebase user dot photo URL, then the UID will be equals to the Firebase user dot UID, and then the next field will be the created at, and in here we will take the date time dot now, and then we will say dot millisecond since epoch, and we will change that to string, After this, the Firestore constant chatting with will be for now on null. So this was basically we were writing the data to the Firebase Firestore. Now also we want to write data to the local storage. So for that we will say user, then current user, and this current user will be equals to the Firebase user, and right here we will say vet preference dot set string. Right here the key will be the firestore constant dot id and the value will be current user dot uid. After this, the same one will be for the display name, the photo URL and the phone number. So we will say that await preference dot set string. This will be the key and this will be the value. And right here we added two question marks and the double quotes. And the same are for the photo URL and the phone number. Now let's add a else condition for this if. So right here in the else block it is obvious that the user is already signed up. We will just simply get the data from the Firebase Firestore. So for that we will type document snapshot, then document snapshot will be equals to document, and right here we will add a 0, then we will say user chat, then user chat again, and this will be equals to the user chat dot from document, and in here we will pass this document snapshot. Now let's write the data to the local storage. So type await preference dot set string. Right here the key will be firestore constant dot id and the value will be the user chat dot id. Then the same will be done for the nickname, photo URL, about me and the phone number, and make sure to leave this as it is for now because we will create a model for this by the name of user underscore chat. So don't worry about this, we will do that in the upcoming videos. After this else statement we will say that underscore status is equals to status dot authenticated. Then we will say right here type notify listener, then we will type return true, and after this the underscore status will be equals to status dot authenticate. After this do the same as we did right here, but make sure to change this to false. Then add a else condition. Right here, and this time the underscore status will be equals to dot authenticate cancelled. Then we will say notify listener and then return false. And as you can see it shows an error on the underscore status. So let's just scroll up, and right here just type this status then underscore status, and this will be equals to status dot uninitialized. Okay, now the final thing we need to do right here is for this get back to the main.dart, and right here in the return let's return a widget. Right here type multi provider, And right here the title will be changed to app constants dot app title. The theme will be dot black, and in the home we will add a splash page, but for now let's just leave this on scaffold. And right here the debug show check panel will be false. Okay, now right down below this multi-provider, right here we will type providers, add these brackets, and right here we will say change notify provider. Right here in the create we will say underscore, and this will be equals to auth provider. Okay, and make sure to import this auth provider dot at the top, and also add this right here auth provider. Now in here type preference, and this will be equals to this dot preference. Then the Firebase Firestore will be equals to this Firebase Firestore, and also we need to add two more. So the first one is the Firebase Auth, and this one will be equals to Firebase Auth dot instance. Make sure to add the Firebase underscore auth dot at the top, and then right here the Google sign in will be equals to the Google sign in. That's it. So now our auth provider is added on the main.dart file. Right here import the app underscore constant.dart at the top, and that will be it for this video.